Welcome. Cheers, everybody.
Oh, here we go. Ready? It
was
Annie!
Annie! We knew it.
It was also Aaron.
Tell me you guys didn't scream that at the TV as soon as they showed Annie. Tell me you guys.
It was Annie!
I was screaming it. We were all screaming it. We were screaming it before they even panned down to her. I was like, oh, I know what's happening right now. Welcome, my friends and non-friends, people I don't know, or we don't know, to Beyond the Basement, the complete
Breakdown podcast.
The much rehearsed intro. Thank you all for that. We are back. We're here with episode 81. This one is called Thaw, and I'm really pumped to get into it. But before we do, I didn't introduce us. If you're new here, I'm Eric.
I'm Rachel.
And this
is Pete.
Welcome. We had stage names or superhero names. We would go by them, but we don't. So
I would be Queen Fluffy Hair because
yeah, Gabi Gang came on strong
Gabi
this episode.
Gang was uber strong.
I have forgiven her for almost everything.
Stock has gone way up.
Yes.
I would sell now personally, but
you would sell just in case. I
got iron hands.
I'll have to show you the Gabi Gang tattoo off air, or maybe on like OnlyFans or something. I'm not sure it's totally it's not the best spot, but I did get one. And I joined the gang. Okay, the hashtag
lies. I mean, you joined the gang, but also lies.
Yeah. What was I trying to say? Okay, yeah. So if you're watching us on YouTube or listening on Spotify or iTunes or whatever it is, iTunes is dead. I keep calling it that. Apple Podcasts, I think, is what they call it.
It's pronounced Apple Podcasts.
Yes, Charlock. The flockroach continues.
iTunes the flockroach is still around. That's why we call him the flockroach, because he won't die.
Even Sean comments on this. He's like,
will
you're still alive?
Survive the nuclear winter that is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so come if you're listening or whatever, come join us. It's Sunday nights at 5. Today was Super Bowl, so of course we're coming on super late. Sorry about that. We've had a few schedule
PM.
incursions recently, but we're back in the rhythm. Okay, starting next week, so you can find us there. Twitch.tv/beyondthebasement. Be sure and drop us a follow or whatever. Hang out with us there, and you can come join in the comments section, especially those of you who are fearsomely typing in the YouTube comments. You could be doing this in real time.
Yeah.
So just a thought. Email us, beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com, with your own theories and comments,
things we
concerns,
missed,
stuff
connections.
we missed. Seriously,
so
we've been doing this for.
When we don't understand something, please.
Yeah. We've been doing this for like a long time, and like some of the most like insightful and like helpful stuff has come from the emails specifically. Yeah. There's been some really good content arisen from that. So I'm trying to make sure we read them a little bit like towards the end of each episode. Okay. That said, let's do a quick recap. This is episode 81. This one is called Thaw. It's also called season 4, episode 22, I believe.
Or season 5,
episode 6.
Sure.
Something like that. At any rate, quick recap is, well, they do their own recap, darn it. We keep hitting long recaps, and I'm like not like a super fan of that. But anyway, it's happening nonetheless. We kind of, the part that's interesting that starts out is Aaron doing his little PA announcement, his little Founders Edition PA announcement to all Eldians, and we actually see Mr. Leonhardt, so Annie's father.
Yes.
Which is a good way to bookend the episode.
Ooh, yeah.
A nice little foreshadow of what was coming.
This episode basically spends quite a bit of time with Falco. We see Reiner kind of giving his commentary, but we see, Gabi rather, is looking for Falco. And she, in the midst of all that, ends up actually saving Kaya from a Titan attack and from the, from a Titan. She ends up back with the Braus family. They basically are like taking her in, and we're going to keep you safe. She does end up finding the remaining scouts looking for Falco and finds out what's happened to him, and that Conny stole him and is running off to go feed him to his mom, who's still in Rogako, or however you say his village's name.
So messed up, bro.
And let's see what else am I missing.
He turned poor Falco into a chicken nugget.
Please don't.
Sorry.
Please don't, Conny. Maybe you should, but maybe you should.
He's a Falco nugget. Sorry.
What else I missed? What am I trying to say in this episode? Oh yeah. Mikasa and Armin basically and Jean kind of have this like really interesting conversation about, okay, well, this is what Aaron intended to do, and that it will stop the hate, I guess, but this is too far. So we finally get now that the cards are played and out and open, we now start to understand how everyone actually feels about the rumbling, because it's happening in full stop and Aaron's plan. And anyway, we'll get into all that. Okay, that's the recap of the episode. Why don't we start with the last line of the recap in the show. Aaron's giving his announcement. He's like, I'm Aaron Yeager. Everybody wants to come and kill us. We're going to kill them, or I'm going to kill them first. I've undone the hardening of all the walls, all Titan hardening, which you find out literally means all Titan hardening. And he says, I am not going to stop until every life beyond our shores is wiped out.
Very messed up,
Stomp the hate.
bro.
Hashtag stop the hate. Stop LD and hate.
No, stomp.
Stomp the hate.
Yeah.
So like the butterfly
Mm-hmm.
is stomped
Mm-hmm.
in the opening thing.
Okay, so
Does the cruelty overcome the beauty in order to establish a possible chance for more beauty?
that's what I'm saying. Okay, so we have to get into this like giant ethical argument right now. Okay, so I want to start by saying this first, is that Aaron did say in his little speech, I don't know if they included it in this recap, but if you go back and watch the previous episode, he actually does say, like, I'm doing this to protect my homeland on the island, but now I know there are, obviously there's other LDNs out there in the world. And it seemed to me he was carving out some kind of an exception. Mm-hmm. I guess he didn't say specifically, like, hey, if you don't want to die, get on a boat now and head to paradise if you're an LTN or something. I didn't say that.
Get into the
that
ocean
was inferred.
if you don't want to be crushed to death.
That's kind of what I thought, but
find a boat.
Okay, so just help me here for a second, because I'm trying to decipher Aaron just like everybody else is.
Yeah.
Because he's doing this thing, and in Liberio, when he transformed, correct me if I'm wrong, but remember they made a point of Mikasa saying, like, oh, there were women and children in there, and like you killed them to like do this thing. Those were LDNs, were they not? They were inside the hotel?
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Everyone in Liberio, well, maybe not everyone, but
the military was there, and that's mainly what he was after, was the military. But as a result, there were casualties.
Yes, LDN casualties.
Collateral.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, again, if you go back to season 1, there's much ado about having these Titan fights inside of the walls between like Aaron and Annie and kind of this whole deal, because there was casualties in that process, and they show you like dead bodies, and it's like, okay, well, that sucks. It's casualties of war. The war was a lot smaller in scope at that time, but I'm just saying, like, they've made a point about this at various times. Okay, now fast forward to now, we got the rumbling going on. It seems very unlikely to me that no LDN casualties are sustained when all of the walls fall down and giant Titans like start rolling out.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Does he form a single file line with the with the crushers, and he goes, "Please exit to your left and do not stomp any houses on the way out"?
Right. Now, one last follow up to that is I guess we can get to it when
what giant
talks about it, but
hell beast has he turned into? Also,
but I'm saying, like, even though he's saying I'm concerned with life on the island, and I'm going to kill all the enemies out there, it seems like he has a slightly less amount of concern for LDN life
outside of his circle of friends, outside of his outside of Shiganshina, basically.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Am I wrong? Is anyone else getting that vibe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aaron has lost his marbles. That's the vibe I have gotten.
Yeah, perhaps.
I think he's lost the plot.
He's snapped.
He doesn't see the forest for the trees, or this is still Aaron playing 3D chess.
And we can't tell what's actually happening.
We can't.
We do know he's going to get his way from here on out. His dad told us that.
Some kind of prophet he must be, I guess. Okay, well, at any rate, we can move on. I just wanted to at least tackle that for a second. I'm sure we'll talk more about it. Okay, so the next bit I want to get to is Inside the Paths, or the plane, or whatever. Desert of Sadness?
Yes, that's what I called it. The Desert of Sadness, where Ymir lives.
Inside the Desert of Sadness. Aaron kind of finishes his little speech or whatever, and then it cuts back out, and it shows specifically Mr. Leonhardt. I don't think we know his first name, do we?
I don't think so.
Charles.
I
don't know.
I'm going with Charles. Charles Leonhardt. He is there, and he looks all stunned or whatever, and somebody asked me, he says, "Did you, Mr. Leonhardt, are you all right?" I don't know if he says this or somebody else, but they said, "Did you hear that the Titans are leaving the island to come and kill us?" And he looks all like shocked and surprised.
I think he's the one that says it.
Now, we've been talking about this actually for a long time. It's been a number of episodes since we got like deep into the whole like Annie story. But I think the last time would have been actually in Liberio, speaking of, during around the time of the speech when Tiber's about to give the speech. Mm-hmm. We actually finally get to meet this man in the flesh for the first time. Well, for the first time in like current, because we've seen him in flashbacks before, but we finally get to like see him, and they don't say much. It's just like him and is it Reiner's parents or Bertolt's parents?
Yeah.
They all have special seats.
Yeah.
They are honoring
I think
Marlene's.
it's Bertolt's mom.
And they're all sitting there, and we just recognize that it was him, and I'm like, oh, that's Annie's dad. Now, again, just a kind of like quick refresher, if you remember back to season 1, which is like kind of all the Annie content that we ever really got, we do get a flashback, a couple of small tidbits back to Annie's past, and she remembers her father specifically. And it seems to me like in the episode where she kind of does her Titan hardening crystal thing or whatever, that she's trying to stay alive for the sake of her dad. She also doesn't seem to have the same kind of loyalty to Marley that Marley really wants.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, I'm doing this because I have to, I guess.
Yeah, it's like she was kind of ahead of the game. Everyone else was like, Reiner was like, I have to fight for Liberio. I have to fight for Marley in order to become like a good warrior. And Aaron's like, I have to fight for, Paradise, like to become, to save them. And she's like, no, they're both wrong. I'm just fighting for the people that I care about. And Aaron actually kind of gets more of her sentiment later on.
Yeah.
Ymir's kind of there too, it seems like.
Yeah.
So definitely she's kind of ahead of her time, which is why Hisayama has to like take her out of the story.
For a while.
Yeah.
PX jumps on that cart as well. Oh, no pun intended, but she jumps on the cart.
Okay, Charlotte says Bertolt's parents passed away. That's why that's what Reiner's mom was saying to Mr. Leonhardt.
That's why we got her in our
Gotcha.
head. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, I was trying to remember the exact like bit there.
Hello from Iran.
Hey,
hey,
dude, what's up? I mean, John, love you. Thanks for showing up. What was I going to say? Okay, so we see him. They don't really say much, but he just looks as shocked as anybody would be by like island, or by it sounds like they're coming for Marley. They're coming for us, and his greatest fear has happened. The question is, it seems that inside the paths, or inside the desert of sadness, all the Eldians, everybody who's there, can kind of see other people who are there.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, is there some weird chance that
he sees Annie?
He sees his daughter still alive.
That'd be pretty epic. If he
Maybe
looks shook
that's
when he
why
comes out.
Annie looked the way she did.
But I mean, so does everybody. Everyone was shook.
Everyone is, yeah.
Like you just got transported to the desert of sadness magically,
and told the craziest news of the entire world.
Bam, you're back in the real world.
I wonder if you were like, "Oh, hey, Bill, are you coming over later to fix my roof?" Like, oh, okay, I'll see you later. Yeah.
What
you
would
about
be
this
the
rumbling
point?
thing? Yeah, we'll talk about it when you come over. Like, yeah, I don't know how that really works. Okay, I guess we can move on from that as well. I just want to at least comment on that because we're finally getting back to Annie. And okay, if you recall, at the end of season 2, where does he first activate the power with Dina's Titan?
And season 2.
Yeah, the end of season 2.
So you see the clown Titan, as we called her, Dina's Titan, in episode 1, and eats his mom, and then the justice done to that Titan doesn't happen for 2 full seasons later.
Yeah.
Okay, the Annie thing happens, and we are now 3 seasons later, and we're just now getting back to this.
And she's finally melted.
Yeah.
And not only are we just not getting back to it, it seems obvious enough that this is going to be a central piece of how this thing ends.
Also, someone explain to me why she's all gooey. Never mind. It's like she's been reborn or something. Like,
do you remember when
is she in some sort of stasis pod or something?
Do you remember when
she's in the Titan placenta?
When Aaron and her were hardening? It was like they were like melting together.
They were
it was
like
like
fusing,
gooey at first, and then it was hardening. And it's like the opposite process. I'm guessing is what happened.
It is gross. I know I've brought this scene up.
I'm sorry.
Multiple times, and it's highly irrelevant and inappropriate. But it's like an Ace Ventura.
Oh my gosh!
I know I said it was Zeke when Zeke was coming out of the Titan. It's like when Ace Ventura's coming out of the butt of the fake rhino or whatever.
When he's born.
It's like that, and he's all disgusting and sweaty. It's just, she's actually covered in a pool of her own sweat because it's hot inside the crystal. And she's a little dehydrated.
Yeah, anyway. So she's been here for, was it 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So has she aged?
Her hair got longer.
Yeah, I mean, she's aged in the same way that I would assume she's aged at least in a similar way to other people who have Titan powers, which is your body heals insanely fast.
Oh, okay.
So you
probably
stay relatively young.
Her hair has not gotten any longer.
Okay, I'm wrong. Maybe it was just because it wasn't pulled back in a ponytail.
Oh. Does she really have to go to the bathroom now?
Oh.
Maybe that's why she's all wet.
Like in Austin Powers 2 where he pees for like 5 straight minutes. I can't think of anything except for like dumb old raunchy comedies for today, I guess, but that's just...
Eric's grounded, you guys.
Lost my privileges. Okay, so at any rate... okay, yeah, well, let's just get to the next thing. Okay, so Gabi and Reiner are waltzing around, and they're looking for Falco, and Reiner mentions specifically, they're like, oh, where'd Falco go? He goes, the first we kind of already know this, but the first transformation, it knocks you out, and it kind of messes with your memories. And I sort of wonder if we're going to get maybe a little bit of an explanation on that shortly, because we've gotten a lot of other explanations about Titans, and now that kind of stuff kind of works.
Yeah.
But why is it the first one that messes with your memories? And again, just going back to the founder.
Because you just friggin' ate somebody. You're traumatized.
Well, should we talk about the Pure Titan, my Pure Titan theory here? Is this an okay time?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, a little bit of a tangent, but I've had this theory going since last week, which is that I don't know that the Pure Titans existed at all until 100 years ago. I'm not sure how they came into existence, but when we see Ymir's like history and like past and her whole story, it seems like the powers that she's been that are passed down to her daughters and so on, that those powers are they're either diluted in some way so that pure Titanism like spawns from that, or my feeling is that somebody uses the founder's power. Somebody who has the founding Titan uses its power to create the
Something.
pure
To
Titans.
create a weapon.
Shoot.
Because it seems like all the way up until 100 years ago there was no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% on that, but that's what I think is the case, and I think that they were, like I said, they were invented in some way or conjured 100 years ago during or right around the time of the Great Titan War, and then they go behind
when
the
walls
walls.
were conjured and the Titans within them.
Yeah, I think, okay, so let's look at it right now. Based on what what's been revealed the last few episodes, we know that Ymir was the original person who had the Titan powers. She gets touched by this weird thing. It like touches her spine. She has this power now,
The
right?
glowy amoeba.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
Accurate.
Normally, based on what we know, how do you get a Titan power?
You got to become a pure Titan, and then eat somebody who has the Titan shifter
power.
Yeah.
Because you can't just eat a pure Titan. You have to eat a person with a Titan shifter power, right?
Yes.
Specifically their spinal fluid.
Yes.
Okay. However, look at what happens. Rod Rice licks up Titan fluid off of the ground and becomes this weird, crazy thing when he's human, right?
Yeah.
He's not a Titan.
Correct. However, Ymir gets injected with spinal fluid or whatever into her spine, and she becomes a pure Titan. Not this crazy, what do you call abomination of a weird worm-looking thing? Okay,
Yeah,
Not Ragnarok.
Yeah,
So-
he was not Ragnarok.
so we think okay, our theory is perhaps the reason that Rod Rice didn't become a normal pure Titan, he became this crazy weirdo thing, is because he licked it off the ground. But how did the original daughters of Ymir get the power?
He ate her flesh.
Them as humans ate her
Her
spine.
human flesh, not her Titan flesh.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the point's the same. That
So
they
spinal
drew out
fluid, yeah.
spinal fluid and they eat spinal fluid. It'd be the same thing, but they just turned into the Titan shifters, not the Titan. So something changed along the way somewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
The whole pure Titan process happened because, what are the conditions to be able to become a Titan shifter? You have to be Eldian, and you have to be able to eat a Titan shifter's spinal fluid that we know of, right? Mm-hmm. Well, everyone's Eldian.
Yeah.
So how come everybody in that whole village couldn't have eaten the spinal fluid? It has to have a certain bloodline. And if that's the case, then how come everyone would have that bloodline eventually, because they're all royals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're all descended from Ymir. So
They're
they
all
all should
descended
be
from
able to
Fritz,
be
yeah.
They should all be able
Titan
to access
shifters, right? But there's only 9. Why is there only 9? And why does it wait? Why does it change? And then where did the pure Titan process come from? Something happens along the way. We know, obviously, from what we understand for the facts, something changes along the way. I think it's an interesting theory. There might be more to that, and it might have something to do, in my opinion, with the Beast Titan's power to
his
be able
transforming
to
thing.
transform somebody.
He does it with a shout.
Yes, I don't know. Maybe I think there's still some stuff that we don't know for sure.
Yeah. Well, okay. So maybe I'm starting to maybe rethink my 100 years.
Man.
Well, I don't know.
It was whatever changed. Most definitely, I think, did happen during the Great Titan War, because why else would you call it that?
Yeah.
I mean, they were Titans.
Well, and so my point
But
is,
why would it be great if there was only 9 of them? That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think it was great because
great.
it was the first time that all the Titans fought each other.
Yeah, maybe.
I think normally they were fighting other nations, and this is the first time they all were just fighting each other like a civil war.
yeah,
But maybe.
some powers fell to one side, some to the other.
Or maybe it was just super dope. It was a great Titan
It was a
war.
great. Let me tell you, it was a freaking banger.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
okay,
the
so
Super Bowl of Titan Wars.
so my point in bringing it up was just that, like, here we have, Reiner makes the comment like, "Oh, it messes with your memory and it knocks you out." There's this whole like kind of process, and I'm just wondering, like, specifically the fact that it messes with your memory. Is this like it's you plugging into like the paths or something like that? It just seems like there's something there, and I'm not 100% on what it is because they have not explained, like you said, the 9 powers, the 13 years. Even the succession of Titan powers itself doesn't seem perfectly clear. Yeah, you have to eat your previous person or whatever. Like you have to eat somebody else. But it seems more likely that from King Fritz's order that at least originally it was like the daughters ate Ymir's flesh and then somebody ate their spines and then so on or whatever. Like it kind of carried on from there. But the eating of them wasn't you become a pure Titan then you eat them. Now having said that, inside of the temple, where within the walls in Paradise, they have a whole setup for chaining a person down and then having they have a
injecting them with spinal fluid, turning them
So the whole pure Titan thing came from somewhere.
And the people in the walls knew about it, or the founder,
Mm-hmm.
the royal family knew about it.
Wasn't there something somewhere in the past about Eldians experimenting on their own people, or am I?
Well, they did. The founder did change their DNA to be able to stop the disease, and they created the Ackermans at one point.
True.
Yeah, the Ackerman thing. So there's
there's
still
been
history.
some mad science going on, some mad scientist stuff going on.
There's definitely some history. Like you have to be like uncovered.
Paris said, if parts of Marley lore is to be believed, Eldians experimented on their people.
There you go.
Okay, that would make sense.
Another thing.
Go ahead.
Some of the symbolism from last episode that we were looking for, and some of our viewers caught it.
Oh yeah.
They said that when Ymir is getting ousted, she's getting blamed. She's the sacrificial
All the fingers
goat.
are pointing at her.
All the fingers are pointing. That scene, there's 13 hands pointing at her. Mm-hmm. And then when Ymir is being chased and she falls and her blood splashes on the flower, there's 9 petals on the flower.
Dang, this is some deep.
Wow.
Yes.
This is some deep stuff.
You don't miss.
Okay, what's the significance of 13?
13 years.
13
yeah.
years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Took me a second.
Now, obviously, I don't think that's why she has 13 years to live. I think that's just cool symbolism. They're kind of tying everything together. Yeah. We were looking for like the rings on the fingers and how many kids, and we're looking
anything. I was like, there's got to be something here.
Where's
good
the
catches,
9?
guys.
Okay, so kind of continuing on the scene here, it's Gabi and Reiner, and Reiner's all like messed up, and he basically explains, okay, so Falco's probably been taken. He's been taken by Jean and Conny because his life is too valuable. Like he has one of the powers of the 9, and it's simply too important to like. Of course, they've taken him, and she's like, to where and who and whatever.
And Reiner's in a bad way, by the way.
He's like bleeding out.
He got jacked up.
He got actually messed up. So he like collapses here, and she actually asks him, she's like, did you use all of your power? And he says yes. Like I used all the power that I've got, and my armor came undone somehow, and a piece of the wall hit me real good. I couldn't stop it. And then this is where he says, Aaron's going to destroy the world. Like, I couldn't stop it. Aaron's going to destroy the world. And okay.
He's giving up again.
That's what I'm saying.
Reiner is just falling apart again.
Because he failed.
Reiner is the walls. He is just cracking and falling apart.
Please.
Two fight.
But like he like came.
That's a guy.
Okay. Reiner's like got his second wind. The times that Reiner has gotten his second wind, which has already happened twice in this season. The first in Liberio after the fight or whatever, he has to stand up and fight Aaron again when Gabi and Falco are like screaming at him. The second time I guess reverse that because chronologically we don't see it until later, but it did happen first, which is Reiner goes to take his own life and he doesn't because he hears Falco on the other side of this wall and doesn't know it, and it's this whole emotional like thing. And so now Falco has a power, but he's been taken. Reiner himself is kind of like maybe mortally wounded. I don't know. And now you've got like Gabi, and basically he's like, has he given up hope? Is this really the moment where he's like, okay, well in this case, I actually am done? Because it seems like multiple times Reiner's been like, just kill me already. I'm so done. Okay, take my power.
Let
Like,
the
he's
suffering
so
end.
emo.
Let the suffering end.
He's so emo.
I don't know.
Honestly, like, I know he's trying to stand up for the right thing, but for his own mental health, if he would have just like 4 years ago been like, hey, Aaron, whatever you say goes, man, we're just going to follow you. You know, like he would have had a way easier time of it.
Yeah.
But he's definitely trying to fight for what's right. He's trying to save the world just like he was in when he first went over. And so I love and respect it. Reiner's definitely a favorite character of mine. And I hope this isn't the last of him, even though he's taken, like Ymir, when she takes that spear, you know, he's like, oh, that shouldn't kill you. You should be able to get up. But she's like lost the heart.
Yeah.
And that seems to affect your Titan abilities. Like if you've lost the heart, you've lost the will, you just die instead of actually regenerating, which you could.
Yeah.
And that's why Aaron Titan is so effing strong, is because he's like, no,
I will
never give up.
die.
My will is forever. And he could just keep regenerating, keep fighting.
Well,
and
to be fair, remember Pick, she was like really jacked up. Was it in Liberio? Remember, she like was basically, we thought she was done. She thought she was actually dead. She took a long time to recover, but she did recover. And then Zeke, well, we've seen Zeke do it multiple different ways.
He was like basically just a head and shoulders and part of his chest.
The question is, how many times has Ymir had to rebuild Reiner in the desert of sadness?
Gosh.
She's like, freaking again?
Come on.
That's why she's so depressed.
Yeah, she's like, this guy.
She's like, why do I have to keep rebuilding this same freaking guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so they stop in this house and Reiner passes out and she like leaves him some food. He does tell her, if you head to the south, there's some airships there to escape. So there's still kind of this Marleyan like escape plan. That's going to be a hell of a ride in the way back, flying over the rumbling. Like, we got to get back fast. This looks like trouble. And
there are lava monsters headed towards everywhere.
So he gives her instruction. He says, go find Piek and the soldiers, hurry, and tell Marley and tell the world what Aaron's planning to do. Because Reiner sort of instinctively understands that like this message he's received is for Eldians, right? It's not for everybody. Not everybody has experienced it. And I love Gabi's response because I'm like, this is exactly what we all said. We were watching it and we're like, and then what? She goes, what is telling them going to do? Where is there to run?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's nowhere safe but
There's
Paradise
literally
Island.
nowhere to go.
So we had discussed this theory. We were like, okay, before this episode, we're like, is Aaron really going to kill everybody? Like, we know Aaron never knows when to stop.
Yeah.
We know that.
And he did say every life beyond this island.
say
We
that.
were like, surely he's not going to kill the Eldians, who are just as oppressed as his own people, right? He's going to free them. He's going to be the savior. Surely he's not going to kill like Onion Capone's people, who like have no ill will against the Eldians.
Maybe the
Yeah.
Asmobitos, who've at least been somewhat friendly, if not for just greedy
No, he's
financial
just going to
reasons.
destroy everyone.
So we were talking like, is there going to be some sort of Passover, right? Rachel was saying maybe they go to the edge of the island, they wait for the Eldians to come out. Maybe they can see the Colossal Titans can see.
Well, Aaron may have to give another another notice, perhaps. I could see it happening another time. Where
Paint
it's like,
the blood
hey,
over your doorway and
everybody
let them pass
do this
over,
thing,
right?
and the Colossal Titans won't stop you or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, where would we run is definitely pretty terrifying to hear. It's like those movies where like a nuke gets fired and they're like, run, and like, what's the point?
To where?
Well, we do know from when we saw through Rod Rice's eyes that Eldians, the pure Titans can see them like little glowing balls of light.
Yes.
So if
Right.
Aaron gave them a command, they could discern the difference technically between
Eldians
and non-Eldians because
it's a pretty big hammer to be swinging with, and it's hard not to hit.
everything.
It's hard not to have
They're
a bunch
so
of collateral damage.
humongous.
Yeah, in the process.
Charlock said that if the rumbling truly happens, only the animals left would be the birds.
Oh
Only
dang!
the birds are going to survive.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
Only the
that's
birds
why
are
there's
left.
birds. That's why we always see birds. Birds and fish.
Okay, so Gabi brings up her mom and her dad. She's like, everybody I know is going to die, and Reiner's basically like, yes.
Aunt Karina,
Yeah.
mom and her dad.
And she's like, well, we've got to kill Aaron, and we got to stop the rumbling. He's like, we can't. He says that the founder can make all subjects of Ymir like obey its will, basically. So again, sort of interesting that Reiner has that insight. I'm not sure how he knows that, but he seems to understand that's the case. And he says, no one can stop him now. We can't do anything but run. And that's when he passes out. That's why I'm wondering if he's like out of it.
Good night, kids. I love you.
You think good idea, kids?
My kids are watching.
Good night.
Bye,
We
good
love
night.
you. You're cute.
Yeah, this is terrifying because it seems like with Aaron having this access, the coordinate, he's got the paths, he can control everybody, and he can actually change and edit the Eldian like body.
Yeah.
He can change and edit their minds. He could take away their memories. He could implant memories. He can send memories, right? So what is an Eldian going to do if Aaron knows about it? He's going to be like, you forgot what you were here to do. You actually want to help me do this thing because of this, right? He can really manipulate everybody. And even the pure Titans we knew he could command. But it seems like Reiner's saying even the Titan shifters, he took away my armor. He took away my hardening.
He did.
If a Titan shifter turns into a Titan and runs at Aaron, could Aaron just be like, stop? And they'd have to stop?
Yeah, where's the limit?
Could he make them de-transform?
If he's essentially been gifted Ymir's authority or Ymir's power to some extent, like what are the limits if there is any? And
are the only ones who can stop Aaron now non-Eldians? Are the only ones who can stop him not somebody who can be controlled by the powers?
Yeah, we have to find this out. Okay, so I'm gonna say that for the predictions thing. I gotta say my Titan theory for the predictions. I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget. Okay, so Reiner passes out, and then sorry, I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. Reiner passes out, and Gabi slicks back her hair and ties it up, much like Aaron did not so long ago. She's setting her face like flint. She's like, I'm going to freaking do this. And she says, like hell, I'm giving up. I'm coming for you, Falco. And she leaves a little bread and whatever for Reiner, and then
she
takes
lives
off.
in a charcuterie board or whatever.
Charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Charcuterie board.
The tied up hair.
Yeah.
The confidence level.
Yeah.
And she probably has abs, right? Like she's reminding me of
She is
Aaron,
the baddest of all the asses.
when she is like, no,
this little 12-year-old girl.
This indomitable will looks just like Aaron.
Yeah.
And there's something in Gabi that we like, right?
She's come a long way. It's like Ashiyama does such a good job of making you like utterly hate her, and then she's full of like typical Marleyan hate and propaganda. And now I'm like, I'm definitely on the Gabi gang.
Yeah,
like, I
Gabi
am.
gang train.
She's won me over because now it's not just I'm seeing the whole kind of transformation of her heart, which we get to see more of in this episode, which is the best part. But then on top of that, I'm like she's like kind of growing up a little bit, and she seems like she might be a key or one of the keys to the whole series, right? To like maybe setting Aaron right in some way, because she's the only one with the determination to do it. What am I missing? What do you?
Boss like,
Never follow you, troll.
I hope she doesn't commit genocide when she grows up. A little too like Aaron, if you ask me.
Just like your uncle.
You'll shoot your eye out. More like you'll commit genocide.
Did you say future Aaron sending a message to his past self through Kruger? Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that anti-Titan rifle is over 30 pounds. That's pretty heavy. Yeah,
that's kind of ridiculous. Firing a weapon like that, running around with a gun like that. Like I'm a dude. I work like I carry heavy stuff all the time. Okay, I can tell you right now, 30-pound rifle would be a heck of a thing to sling.
I mean, you shoot a 12 gauge long enough, like your shoulder kills you.
Yeah, easily. Well, I'm saying try to go like on a sprint with a rifle.
Oh, right.
Like it's gonna wear you out faster, a lot faster.
She was just full of so much adrenaline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so. Next cut is kind of see the rumbling happening in the distance, and this is the interesting conversation.
It's like so weird, and it's like quiet.
It's like peaceful.
Meanwhile, there's like massive lava beasts walking around in the background, just like destroying everything.
Peaceful and also not peaceful at all.
Yeah, they're just chilling on the roof, like.
So the rumbling's going down. They're chilling on the roof, and John speaks up, and he's like, "I never thought that he would actually do this. He would go so far as to kill everyone beyond the walls." But he makes a couple of interesting points here, John does. And this is, I actually really love that he included this, Isayama, because this is like the same kind of conundrum, like moral conversation we've been having this whole time, which is, okay, so he says, once they die off, so will the hate. Everyone on Earth will be flattened. There will be nothing left but empty plains. And he says this line is just super interesting. What the world feared the most has happened. All because they labeled us devils and treated us like poorly. I can't get the whole line there. He says, I guess in a way you could say they brought this on themselves, but there's nothing we could do, right? Okay, so just that little bit, he says a lot of interesting things. Number one, everybody underestimated Eren. Nobody thought this
Except possibly Reiner.
Maybe Reiner. Reiner's probably the only guy who may have got it right, that this is what Eren was planning to do. Mm-hmm. But everyone else did not understand Eren. The dude was an enigma for at least 4 years. No one thought he was going to go quite this far. Now, Armin, everybody is surprised. And then he makes this comment. He says, once they all die off, so will the hate. He's not wrong. Okay? This brings up a really profound, like kind of deep question. If you've got a person, okay, this is the idea of the argument for like the death penalty or something, right? This person is like a threat to the world, unrepentant. They want to go out and continue to be a threat to other people, to harm lives.
They refuse to be rehabilitated. They've been given a chance.
They don't want to be, you could tie them up for forever and they might escape, or they might go on to do bad things, or you could execute them, right? You can kill them. That's the argument, like on in the interest of the death penalty. So zoom out a little bit. The argument for things like war or wartime is, I think in most people's minds, like a more justified war would be when you're attacked first, right? You don't want to be the guy who like starts it. You're not like the invader, but in a situation where
Pearl Harbor happens.
Sure, yeah, or just any like country, like a group of people are attacked by another group of people. Your options are to lay down and die or to fight back, right? And fighting back is probably going to involve at least the same level or more violence than was done to you, because the only way to stop the threat is to stop the threat, right? Is to remove it. Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about this all week. Eren's got this thing in his mind where he's like, I'm going to go out there and kill like the whole world. To be fair, not entirely, but kind of entirely, the whole world has declared war on Paradise.
Yeah.
On the island. So in a weird way, like, now I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that you can at least see Eren's personal, like what must be, we're assuming is Eren's justification for what he's about to go and do. And remember, he's looking over the sea at the end of season 3, and he points out, if I kill everyone out there, then will it stop? Will there be peace? Here's the thing is, on the one hand, kind of yes. Mm-hmm. The answer is kind of yes. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
If the people that just don't exist, then there's no war to be waged. The war is over. You won.
Yeah.
Except for there's people still on the earth.
This is my point. Okay, that's what I want to get to. Yes. Okay, so I'm getting ahead in the episode a little bit here, but Eren's theory is like, all right, we kill everyone out there, we'll stop the hate. The problem is, we go forward a little bit after Gabi has saved the Braus family, and they're talking. She goes, or Akaya is the first one. She's like, I must be a devil. And Gabi's like, no, there's a devil in me because I kill all these people just for praise. And Kaya's like, well, there's a devil in me too. And then Niccolo pipes in. He's like, there's a devil in you and in me and in Kaya and in every one of us. And that's why this evil stuff keeps happening. Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
So Niccolo's making my point, which is that, listen, it's no matter how much like you could go, like I was saying this to Zeke specifically. I was like, listen, Zeke, you could wipe out the Eldians and think that you've done the world a favor because there's no more Titans. But guess what? Titans are already almost irrelevant. People have much better weapons than Titans anyway. And guess what? Marley doesn't give an F. They're trying to develop weapons that are beyond Titans so they can continue to dominate the world, to be conquerors and go to war and do all this stuff. It is a fanciful imagination, even in a fictional show, to think that the evil, quote, the devil inside of us goes away
if you take away the guns.
If you take away the guns.
You take away the bomb. If you take away this, it's that like old proverb is like, I know not what World War III is going to be, fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Right.
Even after, so a nuclear fallout, even after whatever, this crazy, insane battle of laser beams and who knows what World War III is going to be fought with,
right.
God forbid. But the next World War, because there's going to be another World War, because as long as people exist,
there will be another.
There's someone's going to manifest the devil inside of them.
Yeah.
And that devil's going to keep fighting. Because look at what happened, okay? In history, before the weird spiny amoeba touched Ymir,
they were going to war with each other, enslaving people.
But there was never war before the Titans.
Oh, yeah, right.
No.
Except for the fact that there was. Also, if you just talk to Eren's brain for a second, he's going to go out and flatten the rest of the world. Look at your own island, bro.
What was happening in Paradise?
The interior was oppressing everybody else.
Indeed.
You cannot stop it.
It's everywhere.
The animals, the so-called animals that you killed that were going to take Mikasa and sell her into freaking like sex slavery.
Yeah.
Guess what? They were paradisians. They were on the island. They were evil.
And they were selling children to the interior.
Yes. To the higher ups there.
Mm-hmm.
The corruption
They
runs
were
deep.
oppressing their own people. The king was freaking erasing everybody's memories and trying to control them for a century.
Look at Armin's parents. Look at Erwin's parent.
Yeah,
Look at
secret police are just going around murdering people for no reason. Like,
it's Eren saying, okay, they're the
for a
bad
reason,
guys.
for their own reasons.
The Titans outside the wall are the bad guys. When we kill them, we're gonna have peace. Then he goes to the outside the shores
they're
and
not.
he goes, oh, the people over there are the bad guys. It's like, no, Eren, everyone has a bad guy inside of them, right? And we can't just kill everybody. The only way is we have to confront the devil inside of us.
Yeah.
We need to Papa Braus to sit down with us and be a father and show us there's a better way. And that way is called loving your neighbor. That way is called laying your life down and sacrifice for others.
Yeah.
Because look at what's happened even without Titan powers: oppression, tyranny, war. Look what's happened with Titan powers. That when you have that power, it can only amplify the good or the devil inside of you, right?
Right.
And so all these things have happened, and I read a book a long time ago. It was one of those like choose your own adventure books or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like a genie, and the girl's like, what do you want for your wish? And she goes, oh, I want to be faster than everybody else. I want to be super fast or whatever. And so the genie makes everybody else super slow.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like, this is not what I want. She's like, okay, all right. What do you want? She goes, world peace. I want world peace. And they go, okay. And everyone else is deleted from existence.
Disappears
but her.
and there's just one person.
The only way, if you really want to have true world peace, is nobody survives.
Yeah.
Nobody lives, right?
Yeah.
And that's a depressing thought.
Well, okay, so
that is the desert of sadness where Ymir lives.
That is the
by
desert of sadness.
herself.
So what's the solution? Because you don't want to just kill everybody. And even if Eren flattens all the world, commits this terrible genocide, even though those people are attacking him, even though those people are in his mind complete enemies, there's still going to be war in Eldia. There's still going to be people inside the walls who go, I'm a Jaegerist, I'm that, you're the bad guy, I'm the good guy. There's still going to be infighting.
Of the world.
Still going to be flock roaches. Elena's still going to exist.
Putting guns to the heads of.
So what's the
yeah.
solution? How do you solve the problem? That's the question we've been asking since time began. That's the question that philosophers have been pondering. That's the question that all of our intellectuals have been dreaming on. And this is what Isayama is bringing us to: is like, what is the correct deal? If you look at Zeke's plan was a much more peaceful way of solving the issue in his mind, right? He goes, as long as the Eldians exist, people are going to try to be exploiting them and killing them. So I'm going to stop them from existing, not by physically killing everyone, but by removing their ability to reproduce. And eventually they'll die out. And then eventually there'll be peace because the Eldians will be dead. You're in a dream world, bro.
He's in a
Peace
dream world.
is not going to
It's a
exist.
fantasy,
okay.
yeah.
But Eren's plan is, no. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cause peace.
in the opposite direction.
I'm going to kill everybody else who's
Everyone except
attacking
for
me,
us, yeah.
right? And we go, that's not the right plan either, right? There has to be a better way than just absolutely murdering everybody else. There has to be a way of offering that rehabilitation and everybody to confronting the devil inside of you and saying, do you want to live for war? Do you want to murder your brother? Do you want to live for something better? Is there a way to achieve that peace on the earth?
Yeah.
It's the mix. You're never going to have it world peace perfectly, but you're going to have the beauty and the tragedy together.
Yes.
And can you strive for that beauty?
Okay, this brings me to my point. So the reason I love this exact conversation, which maybe we'll get to this in a second, but in the chat there's a really interesting conversation going on about if Erwin were here, whose team would he be on? It's a
Erwin,
great what
yes.
if, because he didn't know all this stuff beyond the walls and whatnot. But
I
would he be on
wonder
Team
if he'd be
Eren
on
or
Team
like?
Eren. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
God,
It's
listen,
such a logical, extreme, risky plan.
Don't think we would be here. Somebody else said this too. I don't know if we would be in this situation if Erwin were still around. And so help me God. Love you, Armin. They should have chosen Erwin, okay? You were a freaking mistake. You served your time. You should have died. It should be freaking Erwin, but whatever. It's not the point. Point is that can't change the past now. Okay, so the reason I love this conversation is because this is exactly the kind of thought experiment you have to get down to start and to get people to logically come to the conclusion that not only is there such a thing as free will, but free will is in and of itself a virtue. It is in and of itself a valuable thing, right? Because this is one of those things where you ask people, you put them in this situation, like, okay, the only way to get rid of all evil is to kill all the people, is to get rid of all the people, okay? The thing is you getting rid of all the people is in and of itself a wicked thing to do.
Right.
We know that instinctively. Aaron's going to do it right now, and you're probably pissed about it. Most people are, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Zeke wanted to kill out an entire race of people. You're probably pissed about it. Hitler wanted to race an entire race of people. You're pissed about it. And you should be, because there's a sort of moral instinct there that's like, no, wait.
Genocide is bad.
Yeah.
It turns out.
Don't do that.
Genocide is bad, okay? But the only way to get rid of all the bad stuff, things like genocide, is to get rid of all the people. Okay, so this puts you in a
Circle
cycle, right?
of stupidity.
A moral or an ethical circle, and that's on purpose, because the whole point is to get you to understand, like, okay, wait. So what you're telling me is that that is a greater good to allow evil works to continue on the earth in the interest of preserving humanity,
the beauty,
which exercises its free will. The world is cruel. It is also very beautiful. Okay, from the ashes, new life is born. Okay, you take literal poop, and that's what makes your garden grow. It is a weird thing. It is insane. Okay, I'm just gonna like jump into this because I keep thinking about it. But like, there's a very famous like Bible verse. If you know the story, Joseph. If you ever seen there's a play, a musical about Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, or didn't they do it with Prince of Egypt? Is it Joseph's story,
that's
right?
The story of Moses. You're thinking of Joseph,
Moses.
Prince of Dreams.
Okay, well, the one I'm trying to tell is the Joseph story.
Yeah.
So forget the Disney movie for a second. But the one I'm trying to tell is Joseph. He's got these older brothers. He's kind of like his dad's favorite. They are all jealous of him, so they like beat him up, and they were going to take him out to kill him, but they like sell him into slavery instead. Okay, dude spends a lifetime in slavery, but it turns out he's like actually really like blessed and really clever and very pure in heart. And so because of that, he actually helps save Egypt from some trouble, and he ends up going from slave to like Pharaoh's like right-hand man, okay? So he works his way all through the ranks, and then this famine happens, and then his family and his brothers come back to him like years later, and he like is all helping them out and so on, right? And then when they realize that it's him, they're like, oh, Joseph, our brother, like we thought you were dead. Or we sold you as a slave, and now here you are, like helping everybody, not just us, but everybody. He says this line, and he goes, you know, what the enemy meant for evil, what you meant for evil, like God has turned for good. Okay, and the reason I love that is because it's kind of a parallel to that statement, the world is cruel and also very beautiful, which is to say that, and we've commented on this before, but like, you know, like Hannes like dies or whatever in the show, and it's cruel that he has to die, but it's a beautiful thing that he would sacrifice his life to do it. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of that in this show. Erwin is the same thing. Like, it is like cruel that he has to go through suffering and to die, but when he does, it moves your heart and you see it for what it is, which is something that's beautiful and amazing. The point of all I'm trying to say is that, like, with humanity, with all of us here together on the world, it is a tragic thing, but a beautiful thing for us to exist at all and to be human at all. It is a lesser thing. It is a more evil thing to say we shouldn't exist at all, to have Zeke's position, or I guess maybe Aaron's position too, which is just kill everyone, just like kill it all off, than it is to say, no, let it go on and let us strive for a better way. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just this exact scenario forces you into that question. How do I know? Like, so what is right? Like, what is the right decision? What is the ultimate good? What is the right thing? Well, the ultimate good is actually to allow people to exist, allow evil to happen to some extent. Right?
Because only in that scenario can actually true good come, can actually beautiful things like love and adoption and marriage,
the Braus family
babies,
thing. Yeah.
Only that stuff can come out of the ashes of the terrible existence that people ring upon each other.
Yeah.
And yet even there's something that's worth it in all of those things. There is a beauty in the chaos. There's a beauty in the tragedy.
Yeah.
And so even in a terrible life, there's these moments of beauty that actually make your existence worthwhile.
Yeah.
And that's, why we're very pro-adoption.
Damn.
Like, that's why we care about, every life, even, people in nations that seemingly like don't care about one another. It's like, no, there's moments of beauty.
Every life's valuable.
We're very pro or anti
we are anti-genocide,
suicide and genocide,
all the things. All
because I was just talking with somebody recently, and they're like, oh, I don't have any friends. I can't relate to anybody. There's really nothing left. And I'm like, you don't know. You don't see the whole picture. You don't understand how precious your life is, and especially not just to you, but to those around you.
Yeah.
You don't understand how valuable your life is and how big of a void would leave if you weren't here.
Yeah.
And so even though our life is cruel, there's moments of beauty. And those moments, beautiful things can come. Adoption can come. The Braus family can come, right? Aaron's love for Mikasa, right, can spring and grow. And these beautiful things can come from even the worst places. And what, people mean for wickedness, God can turn for good. And we can actually have something that is worth living for, worth striving for as a community.
Yeah. So back to the John's statements here. He says there'll be nothing left but empty plains, which is interesting because that seems like that's what the outro shows.
Yeah.
So there's at least some possibility in my mind that Grisha was right and that Aaron gets his way. Full stop. That he goes out there, flattens the world, and it's a horrible thing that what he's done. And they had some, but even from that horrible thing that he's done, there has to be some kind of beauty. There has to be some kind of hope for redemption. Even after that, even after the killing of however many people, we will see. Maybe not. So a couple more interesting lines. He says, "What the world feared the most has happened," which is true. Everyone was so afraid of the island for the longest time. They're like, "Oh, we got to build up. This. They're going to come and attack us." They felt like the threat of the Titans was imminent. And he says, "It's all because they labeled us devils. So you could say that they brought this on themselves," which is a weird, paradoxical truth, because he's actually right, I think. Listen, if you literally just left well enough alone, these people would just be out there, another nation, probably contained by the Titans, the pure Titans, for a few hundred more years, potentially. Who knows?
Right.
It could have been a while. And once they get out of that, then what? My point is he's saying something fairly true, which is Marley going and interfering and all this stuff, in a way they brought them. So they initiated this, and they knew it was there. The Tiber family, they all knew this threat was there, and they went there and let it happen and watched it happen.
They kicked the hornet's nest, man.
Yeah.
You called on the thunder, now reap the whirlwind.
And then he goes on, John says, "So there's nothing we could do, right? This," and Armin pipes in, he's like, "This is genocide on a giant scale. This is too far." And Jean doesn't say, "Can we stop him?" He says, "Do we stop him?" I noticed that the second time through.
Confident.
I'm like, well, so sure.
He's got his little mustache going on.
Yeah. The mustache gives you some confidence. He says Aaron opposed Zeke in his plan to sterilize the Eldians. He opposed using the founder with Historia. And now what he's doing is he's sacrificing the rest of humanity outside the walls to protect us. And he has this flashback that we saw in beginning of season 4, and he says where Aaron's talking to them. Remember, they're out digging the railroad or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say they were working on the railroad.
All the live long day. Got it. But he says, Aaron says to them, he's like, "You're more important to me than anyone." And he goes back to Jean, and he says, "The only group that benefits from this genocide is us." Yeah. Profound points, Jean. Well taken. Okay, so then the Titans kind of break in. They kind of bust their bubble, and
they remember that they're surrounded by man-eating beasts and that they need to get their crap together.
Yeah, and they're kind of surprised by the existence of the Titans. They're like, "Wait, can't Aaron command these things? What? Is he too busy?"
He just took us into a parallel reality, the Desert of Sadness. How come we can't just command these Titans? Good question.
Is he too busy? Literally, no, I'm being serious. Is he just too focused? He forgot to.
Is he macroing 15,000
That's
things
what I'm saying.
at once?
I'm waiting for him to come back and be like, "Yo, bro, I'm sorry
too,
about the Titans. I forgot."
Elena makes a good point too. Why isn't Zeke doing something?
Where is Zeke?
Where is he? What's
he
happening?
dead?
Yeah.
So
is he still in the Desert of Sadness?
Dude, what if Zeke
He's
is
been
dead?
Chained.
How?
And his power goes to Historia's kid. Or something. But the vow's been broken.
But how did he die?
He got shot in the nape.
He survived it.
He's holding Aaron's head.
He grabbed Aaron's head like a baseball.
Aaron's head.
Yeah, but Aaron
as a human
headbutted him in the Desert of Sadness.
Fatality.
Freaking just F off, bro. I got the power now. He has the power of Ymir. Okay, you have to wonder.
I think he might be chained there. I think Aaron's keeping him there, maybe.
That'd be dope.
That'd be nuts. I don't know. I still hate Zeke. I think he gets what he deserves. To be
Do you think Zeke teams up with the rest of the scouts and has to like lead him against Eren?
Nah, well, I mean, that crazy twist.
Hey,
but
his dad loves him now. Okay,
that's true.
He can be a good
he can
person.
Get over
now.
it, I guess. But he still tried to do it. Okay, so they're like, what about Falco? And they kind of talk about, okay, well, he must have inherited the Jaw Titan. John says this, so we can't leave him. But we could feed him to somebody like, say, Pixis. And this would be the second time in the show where you got a faithful, confident, competent, moral, good, wholesome leader.
Anyway.
You just don't like his drinking habit, and I understand that.
Not just that.
What?
He's always like making inappropriate comments about women too.
Okay. All right.
I
Fair
still
enough.
like
And
him.
gambling.
Okay.
I still like him.
The guy is a valuable,
He's a
proven
brilliant
tactician.
strategist.
At the very
For
least,
sure.
he is that.
And
instead,
And he does love his men and he takes care of his people.
they're like, Connie's mom has got it going on. You're like,
she's
what?
all that I
No.
want, and she doesn't have long legs.
Yeah, something like that. It just seems to me that every time you get in this situation in Shiganshina, somebody gets irrational. Is like, I'm emotional. I have to save this person.
Yeah, so I
Stop.
love Chad Conny. You know, he
Yeah.
like grabs Armin by like the shirt, and I'm like, that's the first time you've ever intimidated anybody, Conny.
Yeah.
Okay, he picks on the one guy smaller than him. He's like,
Sasha's
listen.
He's
death
Chad
has
2.0
changed
or
him.
Connie.
He's like, you don't know what I saw inside the jail. You know, it changed
Yeah,
me.
jail changed.
Yeah, Connie is not thinking strategically in the least bit. Like, okay,
Sick habits.
who should we, first over Erwin and Armin, we're like, who do we decide to feed? Well, Erwin is, he's probably the better leader than everybody else, but Armin has a very good strategic mind as well, and he's probably going to be the future, and Erwin's kind of on his last legs, and also Erwin, we should probably just lay him to rest, but Armin, he has a big future ahead of him, and so which one do we do? It's a tough choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a tough
Okay.
call.
But Connie's like, should we save Pixis, the like best leader and strategist among all of us, or my mom?
My mom.
Like, bro, I was like, listen, Connie, I love you, and I'm really sad about your mom, but this is not a close competition the least bit. This is not equal scales here, bro.
Miniature Paul, real tough choice here. Sick Habits is saying Connie talking all that smack about Eren being selfish, then kidnaps Falco.
Yeah.
It's freaking true.
Ironic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It does kind of show the humanity and with weaknesses of all of us. Like Connie's gone through some emotional stuff. He's been seeing his mom for 4 years.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Visiting
That's been going
her.
on that long.
I remember she was like murmuring a little bit.
Yeah, she kind of
She
like
said,
sort of tried to
"Welcome home."
welcome home or something. I hope she comes back. Oh, if any Titan ever makes it back from pure Titanism, that it's her.
Yeah,
she's kind of one of
and
the only ones left anyway.
This is something that we were surmising for a long time. We were saying, maybe
you could bring somebody back.
maybe when you have the founding Titan power, you could turn people back from Titans. But Eren hasn't done that.
Yeah.
But Eren's also not controlling the pure Titan, so maybe Eren's just busy. Gabi brings this up a little later, but we'll get to it.
Okay, so so Armin brings up a good point. He's like, according to Zeke, this kid is one of the warrior candidates, and if we kill him, we're going to end up having more conflict. There's no point in more bloodshed with Marley right now. So again, leave it to Armin, always the level-headed, like, hey, we don't need to try to start any more war than is currently happening with like the rumbling and stuff. And he's right, which I've been saying this since last episode as well, which is, what does it matter? What does anything matter anymore? How is it not that the only thing that could possibly be done is to either A, run for refuge inside the island, or B, try and find a way to stop Eren? Alliances, whatever, be damned. Which is why I have this feeling that like Reiner, Piek, everybody who's left alive still on the island, which I have to wonder if General Magath is there. Like if any of Marley has survived and is somewhere stuck in the rubble, like can these people all get together and just shake hands and been like, and like again, you got two options: shake hands, bygones be bygones. Let's all just live here in peace together since everyone else is gonna be dead anyway. Or let's team up and stop Eren somehow.
Right. There's really nothing else.
Why bother fighting, folks? Just saying.
Great question.
That's when Connie's like, seeing my mom, and he's like, you're only here because you ate Bertolt, and the Titans break in through the roof, and Connie just takes out, like, dude just like disobeys anybody. Like, nah, I'm gone.
He disregards their opinions or anything, any team decision they've made, and he's just like, peace, takes them off.
So then we get the cool scene here. He's like, okay, well, we got to deal with these Titans. There's walls left. And Yelena's staring. Okay, so they cut to this one.
Elena has become catatonic now.
She's staring out the window, and she's like, she isn't like, they're telling her to get back. Like, hey, these Titans are coming. And she's like, but Zeke, he made these Titans. Why isn't he controlling them?
Yeah.
You've been saying it pretty well. You've been like, oh, Elena is like God. Her like God is Zeke. Mm-hmm. And her God apparently just got cut down to size.
Got knocked off his throne.
The comments are saying that they think the Aaron Beast ate Zeke. I don't remember seeing that, but
it's possible.
That is possible. He was right there.
Did he swallow him whole? Was he inside his stomach, or did he like eat his spine?
Yeah, that would make sense. That he transforms, nips him up real quick, and then takes off.
There's no way that Zeke is gone. They wouldn't do us like that.
His character's not done.
It has to be
sure.
this very of course he can't go through all that and still not have like this big death scene. He's a serious character.
Yes, but I do think we have arrived at the trump card. At the Zeke is no longer like the ultimate villain, like in control of everything.
It grabbed Zeke. Okay.
Maybe it just took him. Oh. Okay.
He just took him.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I said it. Like Aaron isn't even a he anymore. He's just
he
a
certainly
giant
looks like
beast.
a
devil.
Okay, so it also shows Elena, and then it shows the rest of like the Jaegerists, and they were like fearing for their freaking lives. They were like, doing the thing that people do. This whole thing is reminiscent.
They are crapping their pants and crying.
It's so reminiscent of season 1.
There's so many callbacks to season 1.
Tons.
They're in the tower again, the garrison,
Stuck in the fort.
They're all hiding, and the Titans are surrounding them. And this is just really interesting because
this is the end.
Here's these cocky, Jaegerists. Aaron Yeager's gonna take over everything, and they're like abusing people, and they're taking over this, kind of brown shirt strategy. And here, all of a sudden, they're dealing with the exact same thing that all the people they've been oppressing have been dealing with their whole lives, and they're scared crapless, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're cowering inside the walls. They're shaking. Titan breaks through just like in the first first season.
Yep.
And the Titan goes to reach in, and they're like, "Oh no!" And guess who shows up?
Freaking
like a
Keith
wolf,
Sadie's dude,
like just hot as a $2 pistol. Just comes in like a gun, just like Levi does. And he looks back in the same way, and he gives, what's his epic line he gives?
He says, I didn't teach you to cry, I didn't teach you soldiers to cry and whimper at the sight of a Titan. Grab your ODM gear. If you want to live, get off your asses. Like,
yeah.
It's such poetic justice right there, because you remember back to that scene where they oppose him, and they're like, you're the old guard. Why do we should be learning how to shoot a rifle, not use these antiquated swords and ODM gear. Why? There's no Titans out there. What Titans? What are you talking about? And then fast forward just like maybe weeks even after they beat him up and like put him to an open shame and whatever. And he still saves their freaking butts.
Dude.
Yeah. He still flies in there because that Titan is
classy.
Specifically the guy with the glasses, right? Yep. And the dude is just a groveling like hump of nothing, right?
Idiot. Yeah.
And Sadie saves him anyway, and doesn't just like, not only does he save him, but he commands him and all of his, like, if you want to live, you need to stand up and fight. And you got to fight with, guess what? ODM gear and freaking swords. Welcome to the club. Like, get in line. Dude, I just love it because in our like day and age, people have this such just kind of gross like disregard for history, for like, oh, the old way and the old guard. Those people don't understand anything. And it's such a typical ignorant like young person thing to do, to think that like, oh, well, those old people, they're the immoral ones and they don't know anything. And like, I'm like, dude, there's this thing called wisdom, and there's this thing called you're young and stupid, and you don't know stuff, and you just, instead of like asking, oh, well, why should we learn swords and ODM gear? Why do you think that's important? And maybe can we also learn rifles? Instead, it's like, you're dumb. Let's beat you up and get rid of you. And then guess what? Reality's a bitch, folks. Like, it's gonna come back and freaking bite you in the butt. Like,
but what does Keith do when he sees that Charlock's like, yeah, beat up this old man, beat up your superior officer, like do this wicked thing? Keith like realizes the only way to save their lives and to like stop them from possibly being executed by these Jaegerists is he goes, no, I'll take it all. And he starts challenging them, like encouraging them to fight him, to save them. He willingly lays his life down to save them. What was Keith's criticism in season 1 when he's coming back? He was the head of the scout. He was the scout commander, right?
Yeah.
And he comes back and he goes, you know, like, I couldn't lay my life down for them. I couldn't protect them. We didn't accomplish anything. We didn't go, I have to resign. Like, it's too much, right? I'm going to go get some cozy job, just ordering cadets around, no big deal, right? And here, he's come full circle and he's like,
he's come back.
I'll take the pain. I'll get beat up for you. I'll save you, right? Yeah. Save you here. And then after you beat the piss out of me, I'll save you again.
Save you again.
This is like the leadership. Keith,
homie.
Shadies. I don't know. He is an absolute boss, and I love it. Like, we're getting these like great character growth moments.
In the midst of chaos and like cruelty, you get the heroes that pop up, and he's one of them.
They just took pixels from us, and yet Keith is like leveling up right now.
And I keep thinking about the fact that he's like a friend of Grisha's. Remember, like he's like the OG friend of Grisha's. He actually
and he was in love with Carla, and he gave her up, and like he just suffered
like the whole
and all.
thing,
like,
dude.
and he was like, I wasn't special. Well, you're special now, bro.
You're special to me, Keith.
We love you. Oh, dang. We got to have I'm telling you, we got to do an in memoriam because now we can officially do one for all everybody.
You got to pour out.
And
pour
Niall.
for our homies. Niall. Okay, speaking
Gabi
of.
blew his head off, bro.
All right, we got to get to that scene. So the Braus family's like on the run, and they're running from a fairly smallish looking Titan that we think is Niall. It looks like him. Just assuming that it is. Which just sucks because he's the one, he's like literally, remember earlier, he was like, I have a family, I have daughters, and I want to live, you know, for them. And he's telling that to Falco, and he like saves Falco.
I'm probably never going to see them again.
Yeah. He like saves Falco and gives him back to Colt and Gabi and whatever. Anyway, so they're all on the run, and the Kaya, like, they kind of have to duck through some weird fencing thing or whatever, and Kaya hits her head. And that Titan gets like right on top of her. And she goes, why again? And she remembers the scene, again, all the way back in season 1, where she was a little helpless girl and a fairly smallish Titan was just gnawing on her mother, who her mom's legs didn't work or something.
Yeah, I don't know if she was in a wheelchair or if she had no legs. I can't remember the details.
Something like that. And she's remembering that, and then she remembers Sasha coming in and saving her with basically a hatchet and an arrow, like just straight up rudimentary crap. And she's like, save me, big sis. And she says that. And
but Sasha's dead.
Yeah, Sasha's gone. Who's gonna freaking do it? Gabi has picked up her rifle. Her character comes full circle right here. She freaking blows this thing's head off, and it's not quite dead. She's like, "Gaia, get up! Like, go!" Like she's giving the orders to like save the day. This is one of the better like gore moments of the show.
Good, man.
It's really
shoves it into Niall. Blows his head off.
In half.
You see the nape like fling against the wall, like,
which she might have had a little bit of difference change if she realized that, like, well, no, she does realize that Niall is the one that like saves Falco, right?
Yeah.
Niall's the reason.
Yeah, she knows.
All these characters are coming full circle, and here, like, she has to go blow his head off to save Kaya. Gabi gets her gun. She goes full Rambo, right?
Gabi's got a gun.
And she saves Kaya, the one who hated her, the one who persecuted her, perhaps friends. Maybe Isayama is trying to hint at there's a way to stop.
Save the ones who hated you.
There's a way to stop the cruelty.
Stop the bloodshed. Stop the hate.
It's for laying your life down for one another. Right?
Yeah.
It's for loving your neighbor. It's for seeking after these virtues and defending it, even if it costs you something. And in that, perhaps the devils that we think will recognize the humanity between us all, and there will be something worth fighting for and unifying for. And so Kaya, gets saved by Gabi in this beautiful moment, and then Papa Braus is there. And they're like,
all the best
Niccolo's there. And they're like, this is the family moment, bro. Yeah. You guys just hug it out right now.
Just do it. Yeah. Just go for it. Yeah, I love this because it really is like one of the better. So, okay, I got to comment on this. So you see Gabi, or when Kaya looks back up, she doesn't see Gabi at first. She actually sees the bow and arrow, and she, in her mind's eye, I suppose, she sees Sasha. And the one who killed Sasha, who just murdered essentially in cold, it's kind of like pointlessly, but like killed her in cold blood, is the one who has taken on her legacy. She's even saved the same girl from a Titan. Like,
similar way.
It's this whole like passing of the mantle. Like, I just love that that's going on in the show, that there's this like passing down. And I just love that. What I love is that, like, we kind of understood Sasha as a character who represented something good, something the good, the possible good in humanity. And like you see in Gabi, the possible bad, right? You see the manipulated, kind of hungry for blood, vengeful, whatever.
Yeah.
They're on an island of devils. Gabi, and she's the one who actually kills Sasha. She like takes the gun out on her. Yeah. And that is the one. Like the worst sinner has become the greatest saint in a way. You know what I mean? She comes around in this like whole kind of moment. And like I've been saying this for forever, but like, she doesn't leave. I mean, not that you'd want to leave now anyway, like the island, but I'm saying like I think I think Gabi is either about to or currently already understands like specifically with the Braus family, like I'm among friends, not enemies.
This is where I belong. This is her family. Yeah, it'd be really cool if she could get her mom,
her own family back.
I love how they Papa Braus also just completely ignores her proper name and Falco's proper name.
To call her Mia.
Ben and Mia. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, you are Ben and Mia to me forever, and I don't care what you tell me your name is. You're still going to be Mia, and he's still going to be Ben.
To your point, though, is like, Gabi has this like redemption arc, but if everyone had their way, she would have been killed immediately.
Yeah. Well, same. I was like, kill that kid. I freaking hate her.
Right?
Guys.
So perhaps instead of just casting judgment and executing an order, we need to allow for rehabilitation.
Yeah.
We need to offer the chance.
Allow some time. And
salvation. And maybe even the worst of us can come around and change.
Yeah. I freaking love it. So then this next moment's really good too. So then the guards show up and they're like, hey, who are you? And who shot that Titan? And wait, aren't you that little brat invader? And here's the moment, right? Because you remember, like, it was literally just a couple episodes ago when the Braus family was walking by with Falco and Colt, and they're all in the deal there. And Kaya's like, I would kill her. Like, if I could find Gabi or whatever. I
find out that she's the one that killed Sasha. She's like, I'll never forgive you. I'll kill you.
Yeah,
right?
which she basically already tried. Remember with the family dinner thing with Niccolo and stuff like that? Like, they were all pissed or whatever. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, who's this invader? And Kaya's the one who speaks up, and she's like, no, that's not her. We're just a family, that takes care of the stables. And we're just trying to find our way, to safety, basically. And then is it Niccolo? He's like, oh yeah, no, I shot the Titan. He grabs the gun. I shot the Titan.
I'm a former blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sticks up for her, and then the mom's like, can't you at least just get us to a safe place? And the dad's like, yeah, help us. We're a family. And the kids are all crying out like,
we're orphans. Okay, we help us. And it's like this I am Spartacus.
Give
moment.
us all the compassion.
We're all together as a family. Like Mia's part of us and Ben's part of us. Like. You're safe here, and that was just a few episodes ago. She was too afraid to face them, and now like she saved Kaya, and they're protecting her yet again. They're showing her the humanity, the beauty in the tragedy.
I really like this. So they make the agreement, and the soldiers are like, oh, okay, yeah, sounds good. Like, we're not going to shoot you, I guess. So they carry on. They escort him, and that's where they get into the conversation we were kind of already talking about. Like, oh yeah, we'll go around the flames, and Papa Braus is the one I think he says, listen, what I want you to do is I want you to find Ben. And then I want you to run. But until then, like, I need you to behave. I need you to come along with us. Like, basically, just like, play along. We'll help you. And they make this comment. This is the soldiers like, did you see that daydream too? They keep calling it a daydream. It wasn't a dream, folks. It was very real. And he's like, oh, yeah, the wall titan is trampling the world. So they get in that conversation. And then I think it's Gabi who asks it first. And she says, why protect me? Why would you do that? You risked your life, and she says, well, you too. Like, you risked your life to save me. And so now Kaya and Gabi are kind of even in a way, if there is such a thing of owing that kind of debt. And they get into this whole conversation, which is probably, like I said, one of the more profound things. We kind of already talked about it, but she says, you know, I tried to kill you, so I'm a devil, right? And she goes, no, I'm the devil.
Yeah.
She says, I've killed lots of people just to earn praise. That's the devil in me. And then Niccolo speaks up and he goes, well, there's one in me too. And in Kaya and in everyone.
There's one in all of us.
This is the way it works. Okay, my notes are, that's not the right word. He says, this is the way it works because we're all devils. And then they're like, well, what do we do? And he goes, we got to escape the forest, which I don't really understand that line. I want to talk to...
Is that a translation thing?
Mako?
I
want to talk to Mako and see if we're missing something
or
there.
Or if one of you guys has a insight on escaping the forest. Like, are they talking
about the forest?
The children of the forest?
Yeah, or the giant trees, or I don't know.
Or is it a metaphor that we don't understand? That's what I think is happening, is that there's a metaphor happening there. A Japanese metaphor that we don't totally get. I think. He says what we do, he's like, whether we succeed or not, what we do have to do is keep trying, which is interesting because it's very similar to Aaron's, like, got to keep moving forward no matter what. He kind of has a similar attitude, but in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, it's like a message of hope and all that stuff. But what I love is that we just saw Gabi. What we just saw was Gabi not acting as a devil, but as a saint, as an angel, right? As a good person, right? And saving somebody else's life. And we just saw the exact same thing moments later from Kaya and the Braus family, okay? So what we're looking at are two young people, looking inside of themselves and saying, there's a devil in me. And yet, both of those people, because what they're remembering in that moment is the bad things that they've done to each other. And what they're remembering in that moment is that the horrible side, the devil side. But what they're not remembering is that 5 seconds ago, they just showed the best side. All they can think about is in themselves, the cruel parts of the world. And they actually, for that moment at least, aren't capable of seeing the beautiful parts in the world until Niccolo kind of steps in and sort of like corrects course a little bit. And he's like, listen, and I love this because this, again, it gets to like the heart of like what actual humans, like what we all actually are, which is you and me and the most wicked guy on the planet and the best person you know and Mother Teresa, all of us are capable and prone to doing wickedness. Mm-hmm. Very capable. Every one of you. I don't care how good you think you are. You are indeed capable of some horrible sin against other people. You just are. And yet, at the exact same time, you are also capable of like wonderful like sacrifice and righteousness and beauty and gentleness and all those things, you know? Like, I always think of moms as a good example of this because I'm like, oh, my mom, what a sweet, sweet woman, you know? Like, she was just so gentle and like loved me as a kid and my sister and just, you know, this whole thing. And I'm like, dude, my mom could freaking go off. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you are capable, like the most beautiful things that a human can do, and also like terrifying, like being like the craziest. You're like, oh,
release the Kraken.
Yes, right. But it's not just moms; it's everybody. Like like the nicest person you know. Anyway, I just think it's a good like insight. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the next scene here. Oh, all right. The Titan. They're all killing the Titans. Yeah, Elena gets saved by Mikasa, and Elena just stands there. That's a weird scene.
It seems
Is
like...
she humbled?
I don't know. She's shook.
She's shook, for sure.
She's shook. She's looking at the window, and there's a Titan, and it kind of has a beard, and it almost looks like a bit of a monkey face, and I was wondering, like, she's trying to, like, see Zeke in this? If she's, like, daydreaming, or is it just happen to be a Titan that looks a little similar? Like, I don't know. She's shook, and she's willing to die right then and there. She's not moving at all, and Mikasa saves Elena.
Boss, she is. Her and Sadie's kill like most of these Titans without any thunder spears. Even they're just like going in.
And the crazy part about it is, yes, like you had all these like Jaegerists, you know, and they had their like guns and everything.
We're strong and we're in charge.
And they're like anti-personnel gear, and they're zooming around, and they're just getting wrecked by Titans because guess what? Y'all never spent a day outside the walls until Eren did it, right? You guys haven't fought, you haven't trained, you haven't grown up, you didn't go through the ranks, you didn't suffer, see your friends die. You're not the best of the best. You didn't know anything about Levi, right? You didn't know anything about Mikasa. And so
Scouts even,
now we're back to season 1 again, and humanity is going to feel the wrath of what it means like to be trapped, not just on the other side of the world, but also even in Shiganshina again. Mm-hmm. And so here are the original scouts, the ones who you put in jail, you persecuted, are the ones who are going to come out and they're going to save you. And guess what? They're damn good at their job. Like, they're super good, right?
So, yeah, they're pretty amazing. Not a whole lot. This is just a cool action scene. I guess there's not as much to say about it, but they like get to the top of the tower. They get the thunder spears going, and they're all taking orders from Jean because, you know, he's kind of this natural,
the leader now.
Natural born leader.
He and Armin are doing their thing, leading together.
And he says this great line. He's like, get to the top floor. We'll handle them. And he says, if you care about your former comrades, let's lay them to rest.
Gosh.
What a boss.
So sad.
And so sad.
This is what Levi just had to do in the forest. They were his comrades, his best friends. He could see it in their faces, and he has to end them. It's the only way to do it. It sucks, but it's there. So
yeah, John rising up to be the leader.
It's amazing. I actually really like it.
Which is crazy because if you think about the role of leadership, like we used to have this like really big branch. We used to have like, you know, Premier, Zachary, and then we used to have these 3 branches of government. And we used to have these, you know, the scout leadership, and then you had like the captain and the commander, right? And then you had various people beneath them, and now it's like Hanji might be alive.
Yeah, maybe. Levi might be alive.
Everything's broken down. You got Pixis locked up. He was not in the command of the scouts anyways. And so John's like,
Niall's gone.
It's me. I'm your dude, and guess what? I'm gonna rally everybody. And he's like, come on, get your gear together. We have to go stop these guys. Get your Titan, your Thunder Spears, load them all up, get them to the tower. We'll take care of these guys.
Yeah.
So they do it. They go Thunder Spear mode. Some of the newer scouts, not scouts, but the Jaegerists, they use them kind of as bait. Now they live, okay, but they do that thing where they kind of zip up the walls and the Titans run into them, and then they see Pixis. They see the mustache and everything, and like they understand. Like Armin and Jean and Mikasa are all standing there, like they know that it's him. And I love that they let Armin do this moment because he's the one he flies down in there, and Jean gives the command. He's like, "Let's go," and Armin says, Pixis, like. One of the big reason that we were able to get this far is because of you. May you rest in peace. It's the only way to take this ugly situation and get some redemption out of it. Yeah. I think
it's really sad.
So now the only tactician left is Armin. Actually,
yeah,
it's all him.
He's the cheese. He stands alone.
Really sad.
Yeah.
Rip. Pixis.
The blonde girl who idolizes Mikasa is in this fight, and she sees Mikasa. I can never remember her stinking name.
Is it Daisy? Is it Lucy? Is
something like that?
Molly? No, that's not right.
But Mikasa just does Mikasa things. It's actually Louise.
Thanks, Sherlock.
She gets back to doing Mikasa stuff, and it's kind of fun to feel like go back in time, like the old days of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, just slaughtering mindless Titans.
Yeah,
just senseless gore.
It was easier in those days. Okay, so. After all this, the rumbling's still going on. I think it's John's talking. He says the fires have settled down. The Marley army has basically been wiped out, and there's no more pure Titans around. So for now, we're safe. Mm-hmm. And Anya Capone's there, and he says, "Tell me about the daydream. What does Eren intend to do?" And I love this. John's answer. He's like, "You're looking at it.
You're looking at it.
What else is there to say?" And he's like, "I guess my homeland is doomed as well," and they don't answer him.
They just say nothing.
We hope not.
So about that, then Flockroach shows back up, and they're like, "Oh, you're okay?" And he goes, "While I was out there dying off the wall, it looks like you took care of the Titans, John."
And John hits him with the most truthful thing ever. He goes, "You're still alive?
You lived, huh?
You lived? How did you do this?"
Good job, I guess.
And John Flockroach goes, "Yeah, I can't die now when LD is about to be restored." And it's like, bro, did you see the rumbling happening? Do you know what's going on?
What a freak. I don't even know. Here's the thing, is Flock about to redeem himself? Because the very next thing he does is he goes
puts a gun to Elena's skull.
Yes, puts a gun to Elena and is like, round up the volunteers, you're being detained. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. I'm trying to figure out Flock's thing here. I was saying this at the time. I think that with Flock and the Jaegerists, they didn't know about the euthanization, sterilization plan. I don't think.
Okay.
I think they were planning on at least some limited version of the rumbling. They were looking for vengeance on Marley.
Rumbling.
They were looking for independence as a nation.
Mm-hmm.
They were nationalists of some kind, Eldian nationalists, I guess you could call them, or something like that.
Yeah.
Then they find out about the euthanization plan, and they're like, well, that's the exact opposite of what we want. We want our nation to be held high and raised up, not torn down by whatever.
Yeah, think about what the speech Flock gave. He's like, we're going to restore Eldia. We're going to,
That's what the Jaegers kids were all on board with.
How could you restore a nation that's can't reproduce?
Yeah.
They can't continue on. And so now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, Eren's going to kill everybody else. We're really going to be able to rebuild our country when no one's going to oppose us.
Right. That's kind of what I think
they're all on board with Eren's plan.
I think they still are.
And yet he does the one sensible thing that we've all wanted to do, which is put a gun to Elena's head. It's like, oh.
She's been messing things up forever.
Okay, but can we give her the same chance that Gabi has to come around? Can we give her the same redemption?
No.
That's not a risk I'm willing to take. I think
she shot way too many people directly in the skull.
Yeah,
she did. She's ruthless. Elena is ruthless.
She's also worshiping a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Zeke of all people, so I really don't trust her,
In my mind, there's no hope for you, Private. It's time.
I feel like Gabi, she made a rookie mistake.
Yeah, Flock sees a power vacuum, it seems like. He wants to do what he does best, which is cause problems.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get to the final scene here. They grab... Braus grabs, I think, Armin and Mikasa, or Armin and Jean, or whoever, some of them, and they take him down to see Gabi's there. And she's like, hey, I swear I don't want any more trouble. I just want Falco back. And and then I promise I'll disappear for good. I'll be gone. I'll be out of here. I just want Falco. And she asks, where is he? And they're like, well,
About that.
yeah, see, there's this guy, Conny, and his mom, and she's a Titan, and she's like all freaked out. Of course, they tell the whole story, but she says, I'm sorry, I can't give up on Falco. And they don't falter. They don't go, okay, well, you're not getting Conny. Like, they don't seem to jump in one way or the other here. They just like hear her out for a second, and she's like, I can't give up on Falco. Guys, Gabi loves Falco.
She does.
It's cute.
It's beautiful.
I don't think she realizes it yet entirely.
But she starts asking some really good questions. She goes, can't Eren Yeager turn the people, like Connie's mom, back into,
Thank you
back
for
into
asking.
people?
We were all wondering too.
And they say, well, I mean, he wouldn't have just let us kill all those Titans out there if he could, right? Like that. And that's just logic. Like they're not actually making a point. They're just saying this logically doesn't make sense. And I'm like, thank you, writers,
Yeah.
So either Eren's really busy, he can't, or there's something else going on, right? And then she says, can't the founder, what did she say? Can't the founder do something?
Let's see. Can't Eren turn the mom back? Can't is what she thinks the founder can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Armin says, well, if he could have, I think he would have turned those soldiers back already, but he didn't. He says, I don't know.
But she says, can't you ask him?
Yeah, can't you ask him?
Oh, then she says, can't he only kill the military bases? Why does he have to kill everybody outside the shore? I'm like, okay, now, normally Armin's the voice of the reader,
Yeah.
Now Gabi's the voice of the reader. We're like, yes.
Can't you just do that?
Yeah, and they're like, I don't know. Like, well, you should probably ask the dude instead of just assuming and letting where the chips fall where they may. Armin, like, I know the last time you guys saw each other, he beat the piss out of you, but like, give it one more shot. Mikasa, he really does care about you, right? Put the scarf back on. So then, she asks him, she grabs him, she shakes him, and he goes, wait a second.
Are they doing what I think they're doing?
They are.
In the comments, they're coming up with Gabi and Falco's couple's name. We've got Gabco. What's this? Falby?
Falky.
Falky?
Falky. You guys are ridiculous. It's just the Bachelorette version of.
Sean says Eren dropped an at everyone and then started ghosting. The worst kind of Discord user.
The worst.
Seriously. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So then Gabi says, like, shouldn't we ask him? Armin, Mikasa. What do they say? They say right after this they go.
Wait. What's part are you trying to attack?
Gabi goes, can we ask him? Does he have to kill everybody outside there? Can he just kill the military bases?
And he said, well, she says, she continues on, she's seeing how he stripped Reiner of his armor.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't that be possible? And then they're like, wait a second, where is Reiner?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter. He's too injured. He can't move. And they're like, well, wait. When did his hardening come undone? Like, at what point? And she goes, oh, well, right as the walls collapsed. And that's when...
And then Armin puts it together.
He's like, if Eren undid all Titan hardening, and then that's when we see Annie.
Thaw.
And
In
she's
a puddle,
like
on
breathing.
the floor.
It was Annie!
She was full of the juice.
Annie, are you okay?
The whole freaking time.
Are you okay, Annie?
Okay, can we just get to the predictions part then? Because I got so much to say that would be like spoiler-esque for those who are not interested
All right.
in that.
We're moving into our prediction section. We don't have any spoilers.
I have taken off.
But we have guesses. If you guys appreciate the content, leave us a like, drop a subscribe, drop a thermonuclear warhead on that
like button.
Drop a rumbling all over that like
right.
button if you
Give
got
us
it in
all
you.
the stars.
Let the comments rumble with your
I keep forgetting to mention that. Please, seriously, so if you are listening to the podcast and you made it this far into this long episode, which they all are, the most helpful thing in the world would be to go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever and leave us a 5-star review. That's actually like extremely good as far as us and far as ratings and all that jazz goes. Yeah, I mean, I have ambitions to keep going with this thing to some extent or another. I think I want to do the whole content creation thing. It's fun. So at any rate, that would be very helpful. Yeah, we've got links to merch and stuff. We have links to merch that's not just our own, actually. We have links to stuff that is like just Attack on Titan related or whatever. You can use as Amazon links. That gives us a little kickback, and that kind of helps the show go.
Like our cool cosplay gear.
Yes, the stuff we're wearing actually is all available on there. Okay. If you don't want to have anything to do with this, now would be the time to tune out if you're not interested in our like predictions and if you don't want to spoil your stuff. If you're the kind of person who doesn't watch the preview for the next episode, by all means turn it off. Now's your chance.
Yeah. Okay, so Sick Habits had a good comment.
Yeah.
Grisha says that Aaron gets what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron only gets what he wants from here on out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't officially know how far Grisha could see into Aaron's future memories.
We don't.
But from what he does see, Aaron gets what he wants. What does Aaron want? Now, Aaron has told us what he wants, but he also told us for the last season something he wanted, which was not true, in order to get what he actually wanted, okay? So, I had a hope and a prediction that Aaron is doing what he needs to do. He's becoming the devil. He's going to unite the entire world. Against himself, so that he can destroy all the LD and Titan shifter powers. He can cause the melting to happen, and they can all be, frozen for thousands of years or whatever. And he can see, look, the threat's gone. You don't have to hate my people anymore, and there can be somewhat of peace. He's going to take it all on himself, like a Messiah figure in a way. And so even in the thing where he says Aaron only gets what he wants from here on out, if everyone stops him,
I'm listening to you.
If everyone stops him, that's what Aaron wanted. Aaron wanted the whole world to stop him. He wanted Mikasa and Armin to stop him. He wanted the whole world to come against him, and he wanted them to actually stop him in order to create true peace. And that would be a much happier version of the ending of a tragedy, is the hero that we love, who's fought for freedom so long, takes all of the burden on himself. He becomes the hero that we needed, unites everybody to hate him. And that's what he wants. Just like Batman, just like a good hero, just like Erwin in a way. He became the devil so everyone could hate him, so he could give the commands to save everybody else. It would be beautiful if Aaron goes out like Erwin. He becomes a Darth Vader in a way or whatever. I would love that. I'm kind of holding on hope for that, but we'll see. He'll still be playing like crazy 3D chess, and I guess we're going to find out.
Okay. So, a couple of things I wanted to mention. Had a few revelations this week.
Ozymandias.
Yeah. Okay, revelation number 1 is, so these giant titans, they're going to go flatten the world. That's a pretty big deal. They aren't very fast. It's going to take them some time. And here's the thing is,
true.
In a world 100 years ago, yeah, they were going to flatten the world, and there's nothing anybody could do about it. But we don't live in that world anymore. As Marley has already shown us, as Piek has already shown us, the world has anti-Titan weapons. Okay? Seems pretty clear to me. People don't just lay down and die. They're going to put up somewhat of a fight. They may still lose. All I'm saying is that this isn't a fully one-sided war. Okay? These giant Titans are going to go out there. They're going to try and do their thing, but there's no way every one of them comes back alive. There's no way they take the world without any resistance. The Mideastern Empire, Marley, all of these people are going to be, hopefully, have been arming up and are armed to the teeth to some extent or another. Here's the other thing is, we've also talked about how, they've talked about in the show, the technology in the world is advancing past Titan. So the era of Titan warfare is coming to a close. That's why Marley wanted to go retake the Founder in the first place, is because they're like, hey, we kind of need this power. We need all the power we can get. My hunch is that perhaps one of the other reasons they wanted to go take the Founder is because there's got to be some ability to create more Titan powers. Mm-hmm. That's my guess. Mm-hmm. There has to be.
They want a flying Titan.
That is what I'm saying. Is I think there's going to be either a flying Titan,
or a bomb Titan.
There's going to be one of two things that's going to happen. They're either going to advance the weaponry that Titans can use, or they're going to
so like more Warhammer-esque Titans.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to have flying Titans or something of the sort. Now, excluding Titans, because as of this moment, I was talking about this as well. As of this moment, Marley has control over basically no Titan powers. So Zeke is pretty much out of the picture, we think. Aaron has the Warhammer, the Founder, and the Attack Titan all on himself. He definitely ain't on their side, okay?
Right.
You've got Falco, who's just inherited the Jaw Titan, which he's questionable at best for this in terms of, quote, fighting on behalf of Marley, if that's even possible for him to do.
Right.
Then you've got the Colossal Titan, which Armin has. He's definitely not on their side. Then you've got the...
female Titan.
You've got the female Titan, who Again, questionable at best, if not a sure thing as they no, right? At this point, you think she's going to run back to Marley and fight on their behalf right now?
She wants to go see her dad.
She does. So
she cares about him, so she probably wouldn't directly betray them if it meant her dad would die.
Sure.
But
I'm saying, like, they don't have her on their... Like, she's not actively there, which what could she do against all these Colossal Titans anyway? So there's that. Okay, and then... so I'm missing two more. What am I not saying here?
The Cart Titan?
The Cart Titan. So they've got Piek, and Piek, again, is a question mark. It's not a definite
She only cares about her comrades. She doesn't give any cares about anything else.
Mm-hmm. It's not a definite no, but it's not a definite yes either. And I'm missing one more. That's only 8.
Reiner. Reiner's...
Armored Titan.
Done.
Reiner's basically out of commission. Okay, so of the 9 Titan powers, they're scanty at best right now. Okay, they've got very little of that going on. Okay, so next side of the prediction is that the Osmobitos talked about having a flying machine of some kind. We've also talked about the fact
is it a bomber?
They talked about on the island there's this like special fuel they want to use to do build weaponry or something of the kind. My guess is that part of the anti-Titan weaponry that we're going to see is we already know they have airships. The Zeppelins, right?
Yeah.
They got that. They either continue to use those or they actually have actual planes. I think we're going to see Spitfire freaking bombers or something like that. Like they are going to have a way to get in the sky, and if you can equip anti-Titan weaponry on flying machines, suddenly this whole, hey, the Titans are going to go flatten the world, like I said, at the very least, even if they can win, they don't win as handily as it looks like it's going to. So it's not going to be just an instant smackdown and they're done.
They are very slow. Also, they seem to be solar powered.
Yeah.
And the sun doesn't stay up 24 hours a day.
This is my next,
Therefore,
this is my next prediction.
They're slow and they're going to take naps.
Yes.
For like 8 to 12 hours every single day.
So the next episode is called Sunset. Okay, and at this moment, right, sun's still out. They're on the march. But you remember back all the way to season 1. Mm-hmm. The first thing that happens at the end of season 1, and at the beginning of season 2, I think they show a little bit of it as well, is you see a Titan inside of the wall, like a giant Titan, which I love how they don't explain that to you for
a long time.
2 seasons later, you're like,
there's just a massive colossal Titan eyeball right there. No big deal.
They don't even tell you
it's fine.
They don't even tell you that all the walls are necessarily made out of giant Titans until like much later.
Yeah, they don't confirm that. They just let you.
I just feel bad for that one Titan where Annie, moved and then his eye is like shown, and it's like everyone else is sleeping peacefully. And he's the one where like the guy left the curtain open, and you're like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. Dude. Gosh, dude. And then you can never really fully go back to sleep, like, because you've been disturbed,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I feel bad for him. So at any rate, remember the wall cult guy, what was his name? The priest dude.
Pastor Nick.
Pastor Nick.
Pastor Nick.
Pastor Nick is like, you're going to want to cover that up.
Yeah.
That's a powerful one.
Which tells me the wall cult people did know more than they were letting on.
They knew everything.
I don't think they knew everything.
They perhaps knew some of the history. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. But they worshipped the walls, and even the worshiping the walls now makes more sense because the walls are, in their eyes, some incarnate version of the 3 daughters of Ymir. You know? And if they knew that, then that's what they were trying to worship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's kind of gross.
It is gross. But at any rate, so what I'm saying is he says, cover that up. Get a blanket, get something on that because you don't want to let the sun hit this Titan. And he doesn't explain why. Okay, fast forward a little bit. We get to Hanja again, season 2, I think this is. She's got Sunny and Bean. She's got the whole... Well, that's season 1. But what I'm saying is at some point, Hanja explains to us that the Titans are not active at night. In fact, the scouts
they're actually
use
just giant Venus flytraps. They need the sun to live.
Yeah, and the scouts use that to their advantage multiple times throughout the show. As they'll go into Titan infested places at night in the forest and whatever because they remember when they're stuck in the forest of giant trees, they have to wait until sundown so they can move more freely.
When they're going back to Shiganshina to fight Zeke.
Yes, they wait until this. That's the whole point is have the sun go down so that the pure Titans can't do much. As far as we can tell, the Wall Titans seem to behave more like pure Titans than shifters. They're not people, again, so far as we know. So they don't have a will of their own. I'll say that. They seem to be under control of Aaron. That's great and all, but it doesn't change the fact that the sun is going to go down at some point. And if these Titans are essentially powered by the sunlight, they have a weakness. They have to take a pause. I'm just assuming they can cross the oceans. I'm taking that as a given.
We had pictures in one of the previous episodes of Titans walking across the ocean.
Yeah.
So, and we know Pick did it a bunch of times. She just like cart tightened herself over to.
It's at least
Paradise.
possible.
Does she have car Titan scuba gear, you think? Or?
No, I think Titans just don't breathe.
Well, the pure Titans couldn't go through the water. That's why they were on the island.
Yeah.
At any rate, that's my guess. Is that's the next episode? Is it that sunset comes and like the Titans don't move, and that gives the everybody on the island time to kind of like hash things out with each other and figure out a plan. It gives the rest of the world time to come up with a plan. I'm assuming that basically the whole world does know about the Titans now because every Eldian throughout the world has received this message from Eren, and they probably would be like, "Hey, sounds
There's
funny."
a massive, muscly lava beast coming to crush you all."
The Eldians are like, frantically packing in the background, like, no, everything's fine. I gotta go over here.
I
I need to
got
go
vacation.
hide in a cave and
yeah.
cry
You know how we're slaves here? I have to go to the bathroom for.
for 18
Somewhere
years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think pretty quickly they're going to tell like their nation like, "Hey, bad things are happening. We know this. We just got some kind of like magical thing that happened, and so if you care about life, everyone needs to get out of here."
Yeah.
And hopefully they get to Paradise Island. I don't know.
Okay, so Annie just thawed out. She's out of her crystal. What do you think happens to her?
Her
I
and her
think-
former roommate are going to have a fist fight at some point.
Who's your former roommate again?
What was her name? She had the reddish hair.
She's dead, right?
Did she die?
Everybody dies.
All right, never mind. She liked
remember
that one guy.
Bowl
Yeah,
cut
she
guy?
liked bowl cut guy.
Yeah, and he joins the scouts.
Yeah, and then she goes off and does something.
She stayed in the interior.
She didn't die yet. We didn't see her die, I don't think.
In this show, I believe anybody that haven't seen the last episode is dead already.
They're now
you know what I'm
dead.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Frick, what was her name?
Hitch.
Hitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hitch.
and what's the guy's name?
I don't remember what the guy's name was.
Bowl cut guy.
Charlotte, he's alive, or she's alive.
Oh, really?
Attack on Madagascar? Accurate.
Yeah.
All the Madagascar comments
Marlo.
have been... Oh, yeah, Marlo.
Yeah, Marlo died for sure.
Marlo is definitely dead. I remember him
that's right.
dying.
We saw Hitch with Annie's
She was-
by the crystal.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
She
Okay,
was
so
like
she's
guarding her or something.
Well,
Wasn't
we think she's alive, unless she drank the wine. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Marlo's dead.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
All the Madagascar comments.
Oh, she was the
are
one. Yeah,
hilarious.
that's right. Sean was saying she was the one who was going to ban Armin from hanging out
From
down there.
seeing Annie
She's an MP, I'm pretty sure, is what her
Yes,
thing is
that's
now.
it. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, well, yeah, she's going to have words.
She and Annie are gonna have words. That's one of my predictions.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of infighting in the next episode of everyone inside the village trying to figure out what the right course of action is.
Yeah.
And what a human moment.
Hitch has been waiting all this time to be like, "Why the hell did you go into a crystal, you dumb bitch?" Like she's just been waiting.
Or she's like, you
You
never
did not
made the
clean
bed.
up your room.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
didn't
You
make the bed and you
stink.
go into a crystal when we try to corner you about it. Wow. Okay. Wow.
What a
You
move.
owe me a lot of rent and yeah.
Okay, so, but what happens to Annie exactly? Like, what are they going to do? Because it looks like, I mean, just the preview looks like they've got her, like interrogate her or something.
I mean,
But-
nobody lays hands on Annie unless she can't properly defend herself.
true.
Like maybe she's
Telling
got,
you, man, her muscles have atrophied after all the time she's been in there, so she's probably gonna be like a fish out of water for a while, just like flopping around.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, but
until
here's
her
my
muscles
hunch.
can regenerate.
Maybe she's got carbonite sickness and she's like, coming out.
She's
takes
like,
her a minute.
Godzilla.
My hunch is that they like go to it, like essentially the Jaegerists or Flock or whoever, like they get a hold of her first, and she's like, I'm not talking to anybody except for Armin, because Armin's been talking with her this whole time.
You think she could hear him the whole time?
I'm pretty
I
sure.
would love that in my heart, but I'm not sure.
No, I think so. I think it's a given. I think why else would he be spending all that time
Armin
down
wants to
there?
go see her. You know that much because he
He does.
realizes, Titan hardening. My love.
My love, the one that I adore.
Yeah.
It was,
Annie really
She
said
could
that
actually
2.5
respond
seasons.
to all the things I say.
It wasn't in her contract to do the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
so they paid her bonus
Yeah.
and she's coming back.
yeah,
now,
she got to
so.
come back at some point. Yeah, no, I think that she's going to end up having to have a conversation with the person she's going to want to talk to is Armin.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing is,
Does she know everything that's been going on or not?
she knows whatever Armin's told her.
She probably also
that's what I'm
saw
thinking.
Aaron.
Yes,
Okay.
and she was in the vision. She
Yeah.
was in the vision with everybody else. She's an LD and
But
she was there.
If she couldn't understand what Armin was saying, she's like, I want to talk to Erwin. He's dead. I want to talk to Doc Pixis. He's dead.
He's dead.
I'll talk to Niall. He's dead too. Like,
How about Premier
I want to
Zachary?
talk
Dead.
to
No, he's dead. dead.
Kenny,
Can I
he's
talk to
also
Kenny?
dead.
Yeah.
How about Aaron? Aaron Yeager.
How
okay?
about
Let me talk to
Levi?
him. Like,
He's
it's-
also dead.
It's complicated.
Easier for us to tell you who's
Literally
still alive.
everybody's dead.
Yeah.
So here's tell us who's still alive. Also, remember that wall titan after your fight? They're all gone. They're gone as
Yeah.
well. Like everybody's gone. Okay,
Yeah.
so and your friends and your family back home, they're going to be gone shortly too. Okay, here's the thing: is unless I'm wrong about this, I see very few other options as to how do you stop Eren or interfere or whatever. Annie has got to have some insight or some key to the next part of the show, right? What else could it be?
They'd
Yeah,
still
definitely.
need to explain to us what the frick it means that she's versatile. What does that mean?
Yeah.
In what way? Does she have options
yeah.
for her special powers? Like, what
Well,
does that mean?
Yeah, maybe because we saw her using the hardening, we figured, oh, that was her deal.
She's got the Titan shout. She can call them, so she can kind of
in a
control them
way.
to some
So
degree.
maybe she has like a small degree of like each Titan's power.
I'm wondering.
Maybe
yeah.
she could stay into her Titan form a little bit longer.
Maybe she can talk. Like,
Yeah, maybe.
who knows? I want an explanation for why the female Titan is special and versatile.
You know what else we never
Certainly.
got an explanation for? Now that we're on the topic, is Aaron eating that vial?
And
Yeah,
getting
that's
the
how he
hardening
got his
power.
hardening
He got his
powers.
hardening. And,
And
where
what
did
other
Grisha
powers
get
could you
that
transfer?
from?
Yeah.
Why did the royal family have it? We still have so many questions.
What the frick was in that vial? And how did they have it? And how did they know what it was?
Yeah, and
They've
and
never explained that.
her ancestry. Is she part of the Tiber family?
And there were
Is
other,
she-
yeah.
Is
yeah,
she a
that's
royal?
true.
Is she
There were
a
other
bastard?
vials in that thing that Grisha had that wasn't just hardening. There was other ones too.
And how does her dad play into this whole thing?
Yes.
Other than she has a commitment to her father. We understand that. So my point is like, is the plan like Annie has some kind of key to rehardening or recreating walls and or like, is she able to
Can she
subdue the
Colossal Titans
colossal
somehow?
somehow? I'm saying is she
turn
able
them
to, like,
back into walls?
touch them and like freaking
Oh.
reharden them or something like that?
To
Does
try
she
to
have-
stop it, and then Aaron tries to get involved, and she tries to harden him too. And
It's something like that. And like, and she goes, well, I'll do it so long as you can promise like my dad's safety. And like, well, we can promise his safety if you do this. So we're gonna catch 22 here. Like, it's gotta be something going on there.
Somebody said, blonde Eldian equals royal blood, and I was like, by that logic, Armin is also royal blood then.
Yeah, this is true.
And Reiner and a lot of blondies in the show.
There's a ton. I don't know, dude. I'm
The
stumped.
next episode's gonna blow our minds. I predict that.
Yeah,
We'll probably scream at the TV every time.
I did a lot of screaming today,
Same.
especially at the end. I was like, "Come on!" I thought they were.
I
actually
don't
gonna get to
usually. The
Annie this
end doesn't
episode.
usually sneak up on me because I don't get sucked in quite so much. But this time it snuck up on me
Me-
hard, dude.
yeah, same.
It punched me directly in the face.
as soon as the episode starts rolling, there's like a mental clock in the back of my head.
Yeah,
it's
same.
a timer just going down, and I'm like, no, give me more. And then, sure enough, I'm like, no, timer ran out down to 0.
Man,
It's like there's been so much there's been so much room for like kind of predicting, like I think it's gonna go this way, we're gonna have a little bit of this, that, and the other, and like now that we're getting down to this point, I'm like, I am less and less clear on exactly
what is gonna happen?
look.
Which I love.
I do too, but all I'm saying is like once the rumbling started in earnest, like full stop. What is there left?
You know, I
my
have to
dude?
say, I honestly didn't expect Aaron to do all of the walls. I thought he was just gonna do one
Yeah.
as a threat. The fact that he just like let them all go at the
if
same time.
if you're gonna
he
wave
just
a gun,
undid all hardening.
if you're gonna wave a gun, wave the biggest gun.
Yeah.
It's true, but like poor Reiner, he can't be the armor titan anymore because
Do you
all
think-
hardening is turned off now.
Well, I don't know if it's turned off, but it was simply undone. I don't know that it couldn't be recreated. It's just that whatever was hardened at the time, he simply undid it. Maybe he did. You're right. Maybe he changed the.
Wow, he's no longer the armor titan. He's just the normal guy
He's
titan.
just all muscly and soft.
He's the NPC titan or
So
something.
Come punch me in the face, Titan.
what if? All right, I'm just trying to think through this. I know I may be reaching here, but let me theorize for a second. So here's the Titans you got left here. You have Armin, who himself is also a colossal Titan, which offers him some
Maybe he can communicate with
Like he said, he can go.
What if he
Steven was
drops
saying
and blows up and tries to like take a bunch of them out at once?
I'm saying let's say he goes fisticuffs with these things because he probably could.
Yeah.
Because he's also very large. He's their size. He's bigger actually. He's like about a head bigger.
Okay.
The Colossal Titan is slightly taller than
That's
the walls.
right.
He's actually the biggest
he's a little
one.
bit bigger.
So you have the Colossal Titan, and you also have the female Titan, who's, as far as we can tell, the whole hardening and
Versatile.
crystallizing thing is kind of her specialty. And you remember, they take a sample from her crystal, okay, and that is what they match up with the walls. And they say the wall
Right.
Titans are made out of the same stuff. So we kind of leads us to believe, okay, well, all Titan hardening, like even Aaron's like fist thing, he can do stuff like that. All that seems to be roughly the same material, we think. Something like that. Also, no, never mind. That's a side thing. My point is to say that, like, you've got a Titan who specializes in hardening, and you've got a Colossal Titan. And the thing is that the Titans wandering around are colossal and unhardened. Is that what we're looking for? Is that the hope of putting some brakes on this a little bit? Is that when they're asleep, when the sunset comes, they got to rush out there and just try and like harden and like fuse a whole bunch of them just to save some of humanity?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, the Warhammer debris left in the middle of the barrier were they unhardened? Yeah. Interesting.
That'd be
What?
crazy.
The Warhammer spikes that Aaron left, were they all unhardened as well in Liberio and
Oh, yeah.
various places?
Yeah, anywhere that he left them. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, we're going to find out next week what happens.
Yes.
All right, it's
We gotta
bedtime.
go.
Indeed.
Listen,
Thank
we
you
love
all
you
for
guys a
tuning
lot.
in. Appreciate you guys. Catch us next week at 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Right here, twitch.tv/beyondthebasement.
Cheers.
And we'll be live. We'll see you there.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching and listening to our show, Beyond the Basement Podcast. If y'all are enjoying it, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever else you listen to our show. Check out the description below for links to our awesome Attack on Titan merchandise. And join us live on Sunday nights on Facebook for all of Season 4. And some of our best content is on YouTube, including me, so go ahead and check that out. And lastly, if you guys have any questions or just want to chat with us, please email us at beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next video.